Coming up, we talk about our experiences with Disney Cruise Line, as well as discuss the latest news from around the theme parks and resorts. From beautiful Claremont, Florida, you are listening to the Theme Park Land Podcast. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Theme Park Land Podcast. Episode 7, I believe. I really need to keep track of these episodes. I believe
it's 7.
It's episode 7 for the week of August 5th, 7th, 6th. Wow, you know what? I'm not editing this. It's August 6th of 2025. I am your host, Matt Dobrovolsky, who is clearly, apparently, very tired. I'm joined once again by my amazing co-host, Matt Rogers.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back.
As you're, literally looking at your phone while doing this.
Well, I'm just making sure it's episode 7, and it is, in fact, episode 7.
Oh, yes, we're completely unhinged today. So, welcome back, everyone. Thank you for tuning back in. We do apologize that we didn't have one last week, but I'm going to be 100% blunt. I did not have a voice. I sounded like Harvey Fierstein, who probably had massive nasal issues because of allergies. So I don't think you wanted to listen to Harvey Fierstein talk to you about the latest news from the theme parks and everything like that. So here we are, though, to talk to you this week about the latest theme park news and discussions and everything that we could possibly
Disney Cruise Line.
Yes, Disney Cruise Line. We're going to talk to you all about Disney Cruise Line. That'll be up later this week, though. This week. God, I'm really unhinged today.
So he's been sick, and then I just got back to work from a back injury.
I also had a haircut and a dentist appointment this morning. They had to do a filling, so...
We are a little bit of a hot mess express, but we will make this work. Yeah, we're going to bring you our stories later on.
Yeah.
About the Disney Cruise Line, Matt's first experience, my first experience, and then the cruise we went on together.
Yes,
so look forward to that later in the episode.
But let's head on into the news first to talk about this week. First things first, really, because it was this morning, the Walt Disney Company reported its third quarter earnings for fiscal year 2025. Nothing really exciting that came out of the earnings report. I was listening on the way over to my haircut this morning. Revenue is up across the board as per usual. Attendance is up, I believe. I don't remember actually seeing if it is, but I'm sure it is. The biggest news, though, out of that was for streaming. ESPN will be getting its own dedicated app now, in addition to being a portion of Disney Plus, which is nice. ESPN will be launching its own standalone app on August 21st, and that will be another paid subscription if you are a diehard sports fan and love ESPN that way. Another interesting thing that they announced, too, is that Hulu is going to be fully mitigated into Disney Plus. So by next year, Hulu will no longer be its own standalone app on your streaming platforms, but it will be a part of Disney Plus. And again, you will need a separate subscription for Hulu, or you can bundle it together.
Wait, are we going to get uncensored Hell's Kitchen on Disney Plus?
I think we already have it, technically.
Uncensored Hell's Kitchen.
Actually, I don't know if it's uncensored, though. I don't know. I think it's still the streaming. So, for example, if you watch last season's Hell's Kitchen, they'll still bleep out all the F-bombs and everything.
I just want to hear Gordon Ramsay drop the F-bomb.
I mean, you can do that on YouTube right now, Matt. You can actually fly out to London and throw an egg at him, and he'll just scream the F word at you right there. But yeah, so I think that'll be nice to have everything mitigated into one app. I know there was talks during the earnings call about how they reach the consumer in terms of having that dedicated app or having the separate apps or just the linear format, which is obviously just watching it over cable and everything. It seems that Disney is trying to cater to everyone. And I think that's a nice idea. I'm someone that I would prefer everything to all be in one. So I am very glad that Hulu will be fully integrated into Disney Plus. I still think it's weird, though, that I can look on Disney Plus and I can see stuff like Hell's Kitchen and whatever Hulu has at that point. So, like, right now you can go onto Disney Plus and see Back to the Future, E.T., Cartoon Network shows, you name it, it's on there. It's very weird to see that with the Disney logo on top.
Disney should build a Hell's Kitchen dining experience in Disney Springs. I said it.
I mean, we've been over this. Yes, Gordon Ramsay needs to be bringing things all over Central Florida more. I mean, for those of you that don't know, Gordon Ramsay does have fish and chips over at, what is it called now?
It's
Icon Park.
Icon Park.
I still call it
Icon
Drive
Park.
360.
Blue Man Group is coming over there soon too.
Yes, that'll be nice.
So excited! I want to see Blue Man Group.
You know, and I'm a firm believer that I could tell everyone that's vacationing down here to Florida, definitely go check out iDrive things. There are some really cool, fun things there. And again, Gordon Ramsay fish and chips. If you don't go to Vegas and you can't go to, that's really the only place that you can truly go to Hell's Kitchen is Vegas.
It's phenomenal.
Unless you want to
really
go down
good.
to Miami, like we did.
Do not recommend a day trip from Orlando to Miami on
And then
Bright
try
Line.
to drive right back.
Don't do it, especially on a marathon day in downtown Miami.
Yeah, that was crazy. Anyway, we're getting off topic there, but Disney Plus and Hulu, they'll be a thing next year, all together, just like how it is basically right now. But the Hulu app will be gone. They've also talked about different updates that'll be coming to the app. So I've said one of the things that I don't like with Disney Plus right now, how non-user friendly it is. Everything's all over the place. Unless you know specifically what you want to watch, it is very difficult to try and find things that would cater to what you're thinking of in terms of like a genre or something like that. It's very difficult to find things through there. I loved when they had all the like the 4K movies and shows and everything like that integrated into one section. So in this way, like, if I wanted to watch a nice movie that has Dolby Atmos on it, okay, I could go right into that section and see that stuff. Now I have to know what movie I want to watch in Dolby Atmos too. So hopefully they'll do some updates with that too. The only other news story that we do have this week is Beacon Barrel, which is the new Pirates of the Caribbean lounge that will be coming to the Magic Kingdom officially on August 29th. Reservations will begin on August 14th. My guess is probably at like 7 a.m. or something like that for those of you that are diehards and need to get a reservation here. Matt is pulling up the menu as we speak, and he's going to talk to you about a couple of things. Honestly, other than a couple of drinks, I'm not very excited about this place.
It's very much a themed lounge just to make a couple bucks and kind of satisfy.
I will say this. Coming from Geo82, I know I'm not going to be disappointed with the experience. Because Geo is built around the drinks. So that's why I will give them the time and the effort. I just wouldn't tell people, oh yeah, you can have a full-blown meal out of this. No, this is a
absolutely
lounge.
Not. It's a lounge.
It's just like if you went to Oga's Cantina or something like that too. And I think they're also going to have a time requirement on this too. I think they're going to have a max of like 45 minutes.
Probably. It's in the middle of Magic Kingdom, but there's only 4 snack things on the menu, which, I mean, they look okay. There's a dish with chips and some toppings on it. There's griddle cakes with chicken version and then a vegetable version with roasted corn. And then there's Kraken's Catch, which is octopus tentacles marinated in lemon and lime with some other seasonings. But those are the only
sorry,
four
I saw
options.
the one picture of that thing with the octopus tentacle coming up. I'm like, no, thank you, no. I think the reason why the food is kind of lackluster is probably because they don't have a kitchen there. When they announced this a few years ago, everyone thought, oh, this is going to take over Tortuga Tavern because then this way it'll be integrated in with the kitchen right there. Perfect. No, they said this is going to go into the old Pirates League. Oh, okay, so that means you're not really going to have a kitchen. So I hope people are realizing that there aren't that many food options on this. I wouldn't dedicate this to having, lunch or dinner here.
No, and all the food, I'm just looking at the 4 menu items right now.
What are the prices, too? I didn't even take a look.
15 to $20
for the food.
Yeah.
Okay, what about drinks?
20.
What's the cheapest drink that's on there? Because the cheapest drink over at Geo 82 is $23.
The cheapest drink here is
now
$18.50,
and that is for a cocktail.
Yes, signature cocktail.
I was going to say because I know beer and wine might be cheaper, but
the most expensive cocktail,
I'm going to guess $40-something.
$46.
Okay.
So
what is it?
Plunderer's Punch.
Oh, that's the one that comes in the little souvenir glass. I saw that. Because that's going to have...
I could say the description in a pirate voice if you would like.
I don't know if the listeners would enjoy that.
RMAT, the Kraken Black Spice Rum, Blackberry, Lime, and Vanilla served in a souvenir pirate skull mug.
Ladies and gentlemen, please don't give us a 1-star rating on this episode because of that.
I have no other words. It's just a nice little lounge. I mean, all the food is going to probably come from across the way at Pecos Bills and just be run over periodically in warmers.
Or it's going to be right there, if anything, too. Because that's what they do at Geo, is that they have enough... Like, I believe with Geo, like, there's probably like an air fryer or something like that. They have like the prep stuff there. They don't have the full-blown kitchen to make the food. I mean, I think with Geo, they probably make the food downstairs in their utilidors that they have in Epcot. But this, I mean, maybe that might be the case, is that they're cooking everything. But how much do they need to cook?
It's not that menu, but like but it could be a thing because, like, for example, the griddle cakes with roasted corn. So maybe they'll probably have a small griddle in there, in their kitchen area, quote unquote, and then maybe, like you said, like an air fryer or convection oven, and that's all they need. Right, based on the menu items that we see here. That's why it's such a limited menu.
Yeah. I just hope people realize that. Because I know Magic Kingdom gets a lot of full-blown tours. Epcot can do it with Geo because of it being a locals and adult park. Magic Kingdom is the family park. Magic Kingdom is meant for the families with kids and the vacationer. Are these people going to realize that when they're booking these reservations that, you don't have my kids' chicken tenders and fries?
That's why you look at the menu first.
That's important, but do people do that? I hope people do that.
I would hope if you're spending all this money on a vacation, you would do just a little bit of research. But yeah,
I mean, I'm excited. I've got, I'm going to be on there next week trying to get, probably the 4 of us a reservation if we can.
I'll go if you go, but otherwise I don't really have.
I mean, I think it's going to be a one and done kind of thing.
Yes.
Go in there, try a couple of drinks, that'll be it. I mean, that's basically how I felt with Geo, but the experience at Geo that I had was so good. I'm already looking at this place and I'm saying, would I go here or would I go to Trader Sam's at the Polynesian? And there's no question about it.
I've never had the pleasure of Trader Sam's.
What?
I've never been to Trader Sam's.
Well, I mean, you've been to the outside one. Because we've been to the outside one before.
Oh, yeah. No, I've been to the outside one, but I haven't done the immersive experience inside.
No. Okay, we need to rectify that. Because that's... you need to experience that, because that's what I'm hopeful for.
Well, it's so hard to get into the place.
It's been getting a little bit better by my understanding.
No, and if you just see, the thing is too, if you just want to go over there,
yeah,
you can't. They don't let you park there.
They've been apparently on slower days, from what I've heard.
Polly, and actually somebody said this
because apparently now, because of the parking that they have with the Island Tower, that's somewhat alleviating the stress. The big thing is this: you can't go there and park on a weekend. You're going to get denied, okay? Because they know people are just going to try and park there and go to the park or whatever.
Oh, don't worry, I don't want to go to Magic Kingdom.
Exactly, I don't want to either. I mean, maybe next week for to go see Starlight again in the evening, but that would be in the evening, obviously, once it cools off. But by my understanding, they've been doing a lot better in terms of later on into the evening, especially if you're going like after 8 o'clock, when it is only for 21 and up. So maybe we could give it a try then. I don't know. We'll figure out a time to do that.
What else for Disney do we have?
Honestly, that's it. It's been a slow kind of news. And even I was looking back to last week, since we didn't do a news story. Since we didn't do the show, there weren't any news stories.
It's summertime, just raking in the summer crowds.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to see bigger stories probably coming out. And, especially with Disney, we're getting into the end of the fiscal year next month. So we'll be hitting into the new fiscal year on October 1st. So
I would like to touch on another earnings report from another company called Six Flags that just dropped this morning.
Six Flags, more like one flag now.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know,
in all honesty, I think in my view there are negative flags in my book. I mean,
it's like a one flag day. But anyways, so Six Flags, some of you may or may not know, major theme park chain, quite a large portfolio of amusement / slightly theme parks around the country. They used to have some in Europe, but they sold them off. Six Flags and another company, Cedar Fair, they merged. Cedar Fair had a smaller portfolio of parks, but they really focused on roller coasters and thrill experiences. But these two companies merged last year, I think. And
yeah, I believe it was last year.
Ever since then, it's been a wild ride. Towards the end of last year, because a lot of those parks operate on a seasonal basis, so they're closed throughout the winter, or some of the parks will do a winter fest event, right? But towards the end of the operating season last year, there were several rides around these parks where they just ripped them out, and it's part of their cost-saving strategy that you would typically see.
That would always go to Great Adventure.
Kingda Ka was just torn down.
The fact that they tore that down, I hate it.
Well, it's not that they just tore it down; they tore it down without any notice.
Oh yeah,
and they did this.
They didn't even do like a
big. They did this with several parks.
Send off for it or anything.
They did this with several parks around their chain. Now I understand why some of these rides closed. Very expensive to maintain, at the end of their service life, etc. I can understand why they closed them. They shouldn't have done it in the way they did. A lot of these regional parks, as we call them, have a strong local following. You think we live in Orlando, we give Disney and Universal a very strong local following.
You should see how big the local following is for Great Adventure.
But every regional park has a local following like this. They have fans. So, like, a classic to us might be like The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man at Universal, right?
The classic for Great Adventure was Skull Mountain.
Exactly.
Skull Mountain that they'll never be able to tear down because people would riot.
But there's rides at these regional parks that it just might be a roller coaster sitting out there, but it's been part of the park's landscape for like 40 years, and it has a strong following. They just took some of these rides out without any notice. So they've really upset their local clientele in some aspects, the local enthusiast communities to these regional parks. And you got to understand, due to the economics, or these parks might be in the Northeast or somewhere in the Midwest, people who go to those parks can't always make trips every year to come to Orlando. So instead, every year they get annual or season passes to go to these parks, right?
Just remember, most of these parks aren't going to be open, 365 days out of the year. Great Adventure was only open, I think they would soft open, if you will, March or April, but then their official opening was Memorial Day weekend.
Right.
And it would be running through the end of Fright Fest, so that would be Halloween.
It's a 6-month operating calendar,
Correct.
Essentially. But these, they really rely on this local clientele going there over and over again because they are not destination parks. Universal and Disney are destination parks. People come from all over the country, all over the world to visit these places. So you really can't afford at a regional park to upset your local clientele. Nonetheless, this has been happening. A lot of people aren't happy with some of the things that Six Flags has been doing. There's parks where parking is $45, $50.
And that's for standard parking, let's remember,
yes.
too. Because if you come here to Disney World, your preferred parking is costing that much, $50-something. Our regular parking is $32.
And you think at Disney there's tram service.
No, 30, excuse me. 30.
But at Disney there's tram service. They drop you at the front, right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
they don't have that at these seasonal parks for the most part.
I keep forgetting that they... then again, whenever I went to Six Flags, we always would get there before the park opened. Because,
So you get the park up front anyways.
Let's also remember, you're talking to the theme park nut. So I knew that, hey, you have to rope drop these things in this way you can bolt to your first attraction.
Yes.
And you won't have to wait in line that long.
Right.
So I convinced always my friends to go do that. So we would get there maybe like an hour before. So we were parking semi-close. I remember like we would be parking and I could see Kingda Ka right there on the left. So we weren't parking like right there at the gate because that was obviously still reserved for
but it was just like a walk around Superman and then you're
right. But I still remember even then, I mean, like, granted, it's been probably about 15 years or so now, bare minimum, that I've been to Great Adventure. And even back then, like, parking was like $30-something. And now it's up to almost 50.
And it's just... A lot of the complaints we're seeing with the parks right now is quality's down, price is up, and post-merger, a lot of management has changed. They've gotten rid of the upper management at the parks in favor for a regional management structure.
I know they got rid of the president of Knott's Berry Farm.
Yes.
John Storbeck, I think that was his name, who was president of Disneyland at one point too. I don't think he was president of Disneyland. I think he was senior vice president of operations. But he really shaped Disneyland when he was head of operations there. And everyone said when he went over to Knott's Berry Farm, they were like, wow, he's going to do amazing things over there. And he, from my understanding, he did. It's just the Six Flags wacky executives that are up there said, no, we're going to do it this way and we're going to get rid of you guys. And, they basically fired him.
Now, you think,
that's just the dryer if you're hearing like a little tune going out there.
You think, okay, well, there's all these regional parks. People can just go to a different regional park. Well, since Six Flags and Cedar Fair merged, this is essentially most of the regional parks. It's not officially a monopoly on the industry, but it's a monopoly on major regional parks in this country.
Think about
all owned by one company.
There is a regional park in almost every single one of the 50 states of the United States.
It is now a Six Flags park. Most of them.
It is now all being run by
where
Six
it used
Flags.
To be Cedar Fair or Six Flags. Yep. So what I encourage...
Now, we also mentioned, too, like, we're talking about the parking being $45 now or whatever it is. That's not to also mention... You want to get chicken tenders and fries when you go into Six Flags. That's going to cost you $20-something.
It literally costs.
It is ridiculous.
So there's a park, Six Flags America in D.C., right? They're closing at the end of this year. Mm-hmm. At the end of the season. America. They have decided they are no longer going to operate that park. They are closing it. And I've been following that park very closely over the summer. Misery for that park because... So a slice of pizza, a salad, and a drink costs $20.
That is highway robbery.
And
that is actual highway robbery.
Also, the way their operations are going right now, the back half of the park is closed on weekdays in the middle of the summer.
Jeez.
No, really, their biggest ride, Superman Ride of Steel, it's a 200-foot tall roller coaster.
Yep.
Does not operate 5 days out of the week now.
Oh my god.
Batwing, which is behind it.
Could you imagine, too, that you're going to have these people that, you know, if they were like us, that would literally plan to go around the United States trying to hit all these regional parks, and we say, Man of Steel, that's such a good ride. Because I did the, I think it was Bizarro, they themed it to Bizarro in New England.
Yes.
And I would never forgive them if I went out there. And this is a major, major roller coaster. I would say it could be almost the staple of the park. And
it is at that
And you're
park.
not going to have it open on 5 days of the week?
During the summer.
During the summer?
And it's just... So here is the other thing. That is my home park. I grew up in that area.
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted to go back there this year after I found out they were closing. But the operations are so inconsistent right now. I cannot justify taking a trip up there. Why would I?
No.
Because...
Then again, I don't want to go back up to the Northeast unless it's going to New York for Broadway shows.
Right, but like to visit something from my childhood growing up, it's just like I would totally go there. They could get so much money out of me with a day there if they gave it a great experience, like a great send off. But they are just choosing not to.
They don't.
And
that was the thing that they did with Kingda Ka. They chose not to do a proper send off for it, even though Six Flags was lying to people too. They kept saying, "Oh no, it'll be back open. It'll be back open." And then literally
they blew it up
or something.
They blew it up
later after they closed down for the season. They said, "Nope, it's not reopening." What?
And there were several other rides across the chain like that. So my point is, we say vote with your wallet, right? There are some other regional parks out there: Hershey Park, Holiday World, Alabama Adventure, Silverwood. There's just some other regional parks. I would say if you're in these areas where you have a Six Flags park and you're not happy, look at where else you can go. Even if you can't afford to go to Disney or come down here to Florida, look at where else you can go and give them your business. You can still have a great experience at Hershey Park, especially Holiday World in Indiana. There are these other parks. Try to find them and support them, because I feel like with our economy the way it is in the next 5 years, I think it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. True. The industry trends. And there are those lesser known but still significant regional parks out there that could use the business. And I think they deserve it in the quality. I remember in 2008 when I went to Holiday World in Santa Claus, Indiana. The people were so genuine there, and it was just such a nice experience because it's run by a family. And it, to this day, you look at reviews and people's, vlogs, it hasn't changed in that quality. The park's evolved so much over the years, but the quality hasn't changed. So give a park like that your business. It'll save you a lot of money, to just do a trip there, stay at a local hotel, stay at the campground. It's going to be very economical. It's not going to cost you an arm and a leg like coming to Disney would, I would say if you're only going to get a one shot a year to do a theme park visit, maybe forgo going to Disney and doing a local park like that, a camping trip or something.
You still got to just get the money to get up there too.
Yeah.
Because I would even tell you, save up your pennies even more, and don't even.
Well, and this is for anybody.
Don't even come to Orlando.
This is for anybody who might be listening who's from more up north.
Oh yeah. Yeah, of course. Anyway. With that being said, let's move on to our actual discussion for the week. And, I've kind of been in the kick of Disney Cruise Line mainly because we're
Disney Cruise fever.
I think we're about 2 months now away.
Who's counting?
Me. 2 months away from getting on board the newest ship, the Disney Treasure. I'm beyond excited. I cannot wait to be back on a ship again. It's been too long, meaning almost a year. 2 years for you.
2 years for me. Too long. Far too long.
Far too long. And then, after we're done with the treasure, then we sail on the New Destiny. What would that be, like 8 months later? Something like that? In May? Yeah, something like that. But really what we wanted to talk about today was why we have such a love for Disney Cruise Line. And, we say Disney Cruise Line specifically. We don't say cruise lines. We say Disney Cruise Line. Mainly because of the quality, the service, the experience, and to me, it's the cast members.
It's completely unmatched.
It is unmatched by any other cruise line in the industry, especially from someone that has sailed on
I would argue the hospitality industry, period.
Yes.
It's the best thing I've ever experienced.
Because especially when you go to a hotel or something like that, you can, I'm already looking at the hotels for us next year before the Destiny, because we're going to be out of Fort Lauderdale, and I haven't told you this yet, but the Hilton that's right next to the terminal, the night before, is almost $500 a night right now. And I said, that's highway robbery. Why would I pay $500? Because I'm paying just a little bit more a night for that on the cruise, and I'm having a better experience. When I'm staying at a hotel, you have to remember that's literally just a place to crash, to put your butt in a bed to sleep in at night. That is it. You can't justify $500 a night for a hotel room when for, $600-$700 a night you're getting the all-inclusive cruise package with that. But let me talk about my experience first with Disney Cruise Line. I've been sailing obviously a lot longer than you have. My first cruise was in 2001. I was 9 years old at the time, and my parents had wanted to do this just as something different, because Disney Cruise Line was starting to make a name for themselves. And at the time it was just the Magic and the Wonder. The Wonder was only doing 3 and 4 night cruises, whereas the Magic was doing 7. We all agreed that, we usually take a week vacation, so let's do a week vacation. We flew in a day or two before because we did a night at the Swan and Dolphin, and then we took transfers on that Saturday morning out to Port Canaveral for the Magic. And we didn't really know what we were getting into. We didn't know we really needed like a balcony stateroom. So I remember we just got one of the regular staterooms with a big porthole window looking out to the sea. I wish I could go back in time and tell ourselves that we should have gotten the veranda, just to be able to have that experience of just sitting out on your balcony with the ocean out there. I don't sail nowadays on Disney Cruise Line without a balcony. I think that is so important to have a balcony. And, kind of side topic, if you're ever doing an Alaska cruise, you have to have a balcony. Do not have a porthole. Have a balcony, because there is nothing out there like being able to, in the wee hours of the morning, seeing the sunrise, sitting out on your balcony, having your coffee, juice, whatever, and seeing the wildlife of Alaska. That is unmatched anywhere else out there in the world, in my opinion. But anyway, getting back to the first cruise that we were on, we had no idea what we were going to be experiencing. I had no idea what I was going to be experiencing as a kid, because I knew the kids clubs were there. And, I did my time in the kids club. I enjoyed it.
You made it sound like a prison.
Well, at some points it kind of was, just because of how it was kind of structured back then.
Here, kid, you go here. Mom and Dad want to do things.
Well, exactly, because that was the case. Because, I remember my parents wanted to go off on, I think it was either St. Martin or St. Thomas, because that was where our cruise docked. They went off and did something while I relaxed in the kids club. Now, mind you, when I was this young, I used to get migraines all the time. And these would suck. They really would. because I wouldn't want to do anything. And I remember one time they dropped me off in the kids club for that, at that point, and I got the worst one of the worst migraines that I had. And there was no way to contact my mother and father because they were off on the island.
Ah.
So I was just miserable, and God bless the counselors, because I remember the counselors were coming up saying, Matt, are you having fun? I was like, yeah, but, I was trying to hold it back in just, because I had the migraine and everything. There also weren't that many activities. If you go on a cruise nowadays, you can literally see all the different activities that are there for the kids in the kids clubs. There weren't that many back in the day, and it wasn't as sophisticated as it was back then. I remember they had like a video game area. They didn't even really show like movies or anything like that in there, because you could just, go off to the Buena Vista Theater and watch one of the first run movies that were in there. Actually, this will really date me. I remember them showing Pearl Harbor, Atlantis the Lost Empire, and I want to say Lilo and Stitch, but that might have been too early for that. Yeah, that shows how long ago this was.
That was a very long time ago.
But the biggest thing that I want to touch on with my first experience, and I mentioned this just a few minutes ago, are the cast members. The cast members, I aspire to be them. There are no other cast members like a Disney Cruise Line cast member. I mentioned my migraines. One night I had a migraine when we were at dinner, and it was so miserable that, again, my mother got fed up with it. She said, you know what, let me just take you back to the room. She told my father, okay, just maybe when you're done with dinner, I'll run up and grab something at the quick service places that are at the pool deck. And she brings me back to the room. She puts a cold rag over me. We dim the lights. About 15, 20 minutes later, there's a knock on my stateroom door. It's our waiter, Sylvester. Hi, Miss Nancy. I brought your food that you ordered for dinner. Don't worry about desserts. I'll send some up with your husband later.
Wow.
That is service. 100%. That is service. And that, I think, was where my hospitality brain started kicking in a little bit, because I will never forget that moment. That is the quintessential to the hospitality industry, in my opinion. Because you know what? When we all talked about that as a family, that's how we kept sailing on Disney Cruise Line. That was the winner for us. We kept sailing because of that one experience. That one experience that just kept everything going. And of course, obviously, he checked on me, to make sure that I wasn't really sick or anything like that.
I would not have expected that ever.
Exactly. This is why I love Disney Cruise Line. And I mean, goodness, I'm over 20 sailings now. I'm, I think, 5 more away from being able to call myself a Pearl Castaway Club.
When member. Do you get your name on the board?
50. That is so what Matt's talking about is that once you sail 50 cruises or more, 50, then you get to have your last name put on a board, if you will, at Castaway Cay, Disney's private island. I don't think I'll probably hit that anytime soon. I don't think that's coming anytime soon, in my book at least.
That's wild.
But yeah, so that was my first experience with Disney Cruise Line. Matt, you're more recent.
Yeah. So a few years ago, I got married. Aww. But so for our honeymoon, we were trying to figure out what to do for our honeymoon when we were planning our wedding things, and we had a few weeks off, but we decided maybe we'll try and take advantage and spoil ourselves and do more of a staycation, because my wife and I are kind of staycation people. So we looked at the club level of Disney's Contemporary Resort. And we were like, let's stay at Contemporary. Let's spoil ourselves. We can have a day at Magic Kingdom. And what we'll do is, because for us going in and out of Magic Kingdom is a big hassle because of the parking and the transportation and everything. So we said, let's stay at Contemporary for a few nights. We can have free entrance and exit, as we please in the Magic Kingdom. And we can just really treat ourselves.
Who was the one that said Disney Cruise Line between the two of you?
My wife, because she's always right. And
I hope Katie's listening to this right now.
She's always right. I love you. So she ended up looking at the Disney cruise, and it was actually the inaugural sailings on the Wish. And the 4-night cruise was actually about the same or a little bit cheaper than 3 nights at Contemporary. On club level at Contemporary.
Let that sink in for just a second. Let that sink in. A 4-night on the Wish, the newest ship at the time, an all-inclusive time, was cheaper than club level for less nights at Disney's Contemporary Resort. Let that sink in for a second. Because I've said this before too, because we sailed a 3-night on the Wish in concierge for less money than it would have been if I did 2 nights at the Star Cruiser at the time.
Wow.
Yeah. That's insane.
So we booked the cruise, 4 nights on the Wish, and we arrive at Canaveral. My wife hasn't been on a cruise before. Well, actually, no, she went on a Carnival cruise, or maybe 2 of them, but
So she's never done a Disney.
No, but years ago, it was at least 10 years ago. I'd never been on a cruise ship before. But we get there, and I'm immediately like, wow, it's big. The ship was just really big. It's a big boat.
Just wait until you see the Utopia of the Seas or the newest Royal ships.
So we go in, and it was just, from the moment we got in there, it was kind of surreal. It was like, this is a nice ship. And, we tried the food. And the food quality throughout the entire thing was incredible because, the restaurants, it's the included dining. I didn't expect it to be as good as it was.
Did you guys do Palo?
No.
Okay.
We just did the included dining. The standard dining rooms.
I'm a firm believer. And Apollo is amazing.
Oh, it's amazing.
But you don't necessarily need it like other cruise lines do.
No, but I was expecting the really good food to only be found at Lake Palo or at the upcharge restaurants. Mm-hmm. But it was really, really good. And I was so impressed by that. I was also impressed by the service. Mm-hmm. The service was just, like Matt said, it's just top tier.
The other thing that I've always loved with the service, too, in the dining rooms is how they follow you with the rotation.
Oh, yes. No, your server stays with you.
Because in this way, they get to know you. They know what drinks you're going to want.
No, so this stupid thing that really impressed me. So the first night, a drink server comes out, takes our drink order, and that's that. And then I go the next night to the next dining room. Our drinks are already on the table.
Yep.
I thought that was cool.
Well, especially, I love seeing that they do that for families with kids. Because in this way, there's something, especially like a real toddler.
The kids aren't waiting.
The kids aren't waiting for something.
That's so cool. And then the dining experiences, the theming themselves, that was good. I was also really impressed with the entertainment, the shows. In the theater, that was really cool. The Mermaid show that was on the Wish was really good.
And that's where we'll have a difference of opinion.
Aladdin was really good. The first show we saw on night one, Seize the Adventure, and I mean, it is a stupid character show.
Oh yeah, and it's one of the short ones because it's only
but it's
not even 40 minutes, I think.
A stupid character show, with Goofy, Mickey, Minnie, and them, and it's just the fur costumes, right? And that's all it is, a storyline about them involving them.
It's a cute storyline.
But
I will say that.
I was so impressed by it because I got emotionally attached to the story. Mm-hmm. So the execution of it was amazing.
Yep.
It's one of the best live entertainment shows I've ever seen, outside of like Broadway or whatever, you know. But it's just, as far as like theme park shows go, or what you like, it was just incredible. And then it was the even the quality of like the fast food up on the top deck. Mm-hmm. You know, because on the Wish...
Especially with the Donald's Cantina, a.k.a. the mini Chipotle.
Donald's Cantina. They had the barbecue there, too. It was just really good. And I'm thinking, this is just fast food, but it's really, really good.
This was unique to the Wish. The Cantina and the barbecue.
Yes. This
was so good on the Wish that they're starting to roll it out now for the other ships.
As they should.
As they should, because that was fantastic.
You know, I had seen also pictures and stuff of, like, the buffets at, like, Carnival Cruise Line and Royal Caribbean and stuff. And I was like, oh, it's just the buffet. It's just there because they have to feed you. But when we went to the breakfast and the lunch buffets, I was impressed because the quality of the food is just so good.
Except for the eggs. Scrambled eggs, I can never have good scrambled eggs up at the buffets on Disney Cruise Line.
This is true. But
that's why I will always get an omelet or I will get the Eggs Benedict.
But it was just, I can't fully describe how amazing this experience was. And we loved it so much that we went on a cruise together with Matt and Matt. We went on a cruise together like 6 months later out of New Orleans on the Magic.
My favorite ship, again, the Magic. Because again, my favorite ship truly is the Magic. The Magic was my first ship that I ever went on. It is the first Disney ship, but there's just so much nostalgia to me.
And the Magic, the cruise we did together, was absolutely amazing, except the first 24 hours sucked.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot you got sick.
No, everyone on the ship was seasick because it was rough, and then we had the wine tasting on day one. So everyone was seasick and drunk, and it was just such a bad combination.
So mind you, as Matt said, we were sailing from New Orleans out. We had, I think, was the first day was a day at sea, but then we got to Cozumel the next day. That first day, you're crossing through the Gulf of Mexico. Oh my God, those waters were rough, and I don't know if it was just because there was some kind of bad weather kind of around the area, but I just remember everyone, a whole bunch of people were getting sick.
Everyone was drunk and seasick, and it was just a bad combination.
That was the other problem. The next morning, on that day at sea, we all did the wine tasting. Oh.
I remember everyone in the wine tasting immediately after ran to the bathroom and threw up.
Yep.
Because like it was,
it was not pretty.
It was.
Did we do mixology later that day too?
I think that was a different day.
I hope that was a different day.
That was a different day because I remember I enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
But remember the sommelier, Craig?
Yes,
he was fantastic.
Yeah,
he was fantastic.
And getting back to Disney Cruise Line cast members really quick, we can obviously remember them because they have such a wonderful, fond memory of how we experienced them, right? We can always remember them. It's very difficult for the cast members to ever remember guests, right?
Well, they see new people every week.
Exactly.
Several times a week.
But you know what I've always found with Disney Cruise Line? I don't know how they do it, but they remember you. They remember you, and they remember fine details. Two really quick stories. When we were on our Alaska cruise, we were up in Palo, and about halfway through our meal, our server looked at me and my parents and said, I remember you guys. Where do I remember you guys from? And he remembered us. This was like 2 or 3 cruises previously before this. He was our server in the main dining rooms. I barely remembered this guy, okay? But he brought up a memory that I can't tell you off the top of my head right now. But he remembered that. I'm like, buddy, how do you remember that? And I don't. He remembered. When I went on my cruise with my college class, we all went up to Palo for our private meal together.
And Palo is signature restaurant on the Disney Cruise Lines, if you didn't know, but it is probably some of the best food you'll ever put in your mouth.
But Palo, when we went on that, I recognized one of the servers. And it was our server from our first cruise, Sylvester. He got promoted and he was up in Palo. And I said, Sylvester, I don't know if you remember me, but you were my first server on our cruise back in 2001. And I'm guessing like a light bulb went off in him. And he said, oh yeah, Matt. I mean, granted, he knew I was Matt because I had my Key to the World card right there. Okay? How are your parents doing? Do you still get all your migraines and everything? I'm like, you remember the migraines that I would get as a kid? How do they do it? How do they remember people's faces and remember these memories?
I don't know, but the service on the cruise line is just, it's top notch. But I remember on our cruise together, it was I think we had 6 nights, and it was
6 nights was perfect.
It was a really,
I would say 7 nights is perfect. 6 nights is just as good.
It was a really good time. I really did enjoy the Magic. I enjoyed the Magic a lot more than I did the Wish, because part of Disney as a physical experience, outside of the movie, or even the movies do it, is, suspending disbelief or whatever, making you feel like you're not where you are, or you're taken somewhere else, or you're taken into a fantasy or out of reality. And the Magic does that in certain ways in certain areas of the ship. And the Fantasy, because I've also sailed on the Fantasy, has certain areas where you don't necessarily feel like you're on a boat.
Refresh my memory. You've done 3 now, right?
Yes.
So Wish, Magic, Fantasy.
Yes. And I will say, one of the bad things about the Wish is that it felt like a big castle-themed shopping mall.
Amen.
It did not feel like the Magic or the Fantasy.
What I described the Wish, and this is probably going to be the same way I describe the Treasure as well, and the Destiny, because they're all the same class of the ship. You have a beautiful ship, but there's always a but. Because I would say there's only 2 elevator banks instead of the typical 3 like the other ships. Everything's all over the place. You got a bar here, you got a bar on this deck, you got a bar on this deck, you got a bar on this deck, but all the way forward. On the other ships, they're all in one conglomerate area. On the other 4, there's a lot of structural issues that I have with the Wish, and that would go for all the Wish class of ships. If I try and tell you why I love, how I would describe the Magic Wonder, Dream, and Fantasy, it's a perfect ship. I don't need to say a but.
And so here's the other interesting thing, too, that I've heard a lot of people say they've been worried about with the Disney Cruise. They're worried about, but aren't there a lot of kids? Now, the way they've engineered this ship, the Fantasy and the Magic, at least, in my experience.
And same goes for Wonder and Dream. Obviously, you haven't done that, but it's the same class.
Actually, I'm thinking about the Wish too. But what it is the way the ship is designed and the kid spaces are designed and where they're at and where the adult spaces are. If you are there as 2 adults, as a couple, or a group of adults, you don't really feel like the kids are intruding at any point.
Absolutely. Because of where they place them, like you just said. On the Magic, Wonder, Dream, and Fantasy, they're on deck 5. That's where they are. Okay? The Wish, Treasure, Destiny, all those ships, they're on deck 2. So, I mean, the kids are almost in steerage at that point, too.
It's not the Titanic.
I know. But
actually, hold on. You want to know what the first thing I said when we got on a cruise ship the first time?
What, are we going to hit an iceberg?
No. So I'm a bit of an engineering nerd, as you guys know. So we get on the ship. We had a balcony room, right? So first thing I do is I I want to look at the balcony, but we're right above the lifeboats. So I look over at the lifeboats and I say to my wife, "Hey, babe, there's 7 lifeboats on this side, which means there's 14 total, which is not as many as the Titanic, but they're bigger, so we'll probably be okay."
Well, also, to remember the Titanic didn't have enough lifeboats, but the Titanic only had like a little over 2,000 passengers, whereas the Wish class, it's over 4,000 passengers.
But my point is, of course it's engineered fine, and it's gonna, like, the lifeboat situation has worked out, but, like, that's where my brain is, and she just rolls her eyes at me. But that was, like, that's, like, one of my first memories of being on a cruise ship.
I would say, getting back to your point that you were making about kids and everything, you really don't see the kids. Yes, you don't see the kids if you're on the Magic Wonder Dream or Fantasy, because of how many adult activities there are, where the adult area is, and how large it is. But on the Wish, at least, I don't know about the Treasure, but because there's no structural changes between the Wish and the Treasure, I see kids a lot more on the Wish and Treasure than I would. And I think that's because of how tiny the Quiet Cove adult pool area is.
Oh, I hate the way
where that.
I hate the way that's laid out on a Wish.
But I love where it is. I love that it's in the back of the ship.
But it's right next to the stupid water slide with the audio.
Next to Aquamouse, yes.
And it's like all you hear is Aquamouse audio while you're trying to sit there in a lounge.
And that's the thing, is that everyone tells me, well, you know, you could always go to the Chip and Dale pool, which is up on, I think it's deck 13 forward, and they say, oh yeah, that's a nice quiet space. I'm like, oh, okay. So it's for adults, right? Oh no, it's for families as well. Oh, so I could go up there and have a nice little time, and then little Johnny son of a will come through and start screaming his little bloody head off.
With the older ships, they definitely did a very good job of they would have an adult pool area, they would have the family pool area, and they were very good about keeping them separate.
Correct.
But with the Wish, what they kind of did is they have a lot of smaller pools.
Yeah. Because they don't have
one pool doesn't get overcrowded.
They don't have the Mickey pool. Okay? They don't have the Mickey pool, which was always meant to be the kid pool. The Goofy pool was the family pool. The Quiet Cove pool was the adult pool. On the Wish class, you have the Quiet Cove area, which is great, but it's not big enough for the amount of adults that are still on board. But then you don't even have the Mickey or the Goofy pool. You have the main pool down there that can look up and see the funnel vision screen to see all the movies. But then you have like 5 other pools that are all around it. And then you have the Chip and Dale pool that I said is much more forward of the ship. But again, that's also for families as well. Now, I don't know how many families would want to go over there to the Chip and Dale pool, because you've got all the family activities that they do by the main pools there, and you have the movies, obviously. So, you know, granted, look, I haven't done the Chip and Dale pool. I didn't know about that my first time I was on the Wish. The second time I was on the Wish, I was in Concierge. So I was spending all my time on the Concierge Sun Deck, which I will tell you this. If you have the money, do Concierge on the Wish or the Treasure or whatever, because of that private pool area that they have. That was so much more relaxing, and what Quiet Cove should have been.
I feel like the Wish was more designed for concierge guests than it was for people 100%. Who are not concierge.
100%, because it has like over 100 concierge staterooms. And when you get into that lounge is massive. Massive. Now, granted, when we went in there, we were always finding an available seat. But, you know, they were definitely catering to concierge to a point. And I think they still kind of are with the Treasure, the Destiny, even the Adventure that's going to be sailing out of Singapore. There's a lot of concierge staterooms on there, too.
And I think one of the things they did on the Wish that's different from the other ships is they... a lot of the spaces in the main atrium that would have been taken up by lounges or whatnot. They were just turned over to kind of merchandise, luxury merchandise.
I hate that.
Because you can buy $1 million diamonds in this ship.
Why is it that if I want to go to the Hyperspace Lounge or even on the Treasure to the Haunted Mansion parlor, now granted, I don't know, I haven't obviously been on the Treasure, but I know for a fact they're utilizing the same amount of space for the Haunted Mansion bar as they did for the Star Wars one. There's only about room for like 30 people in this thing, okay? And everyone wants to go in there. So why is it that across the way, this is on the port side of Deck 3, so I'm talking about the starboard side of Deck 3. Why is it that 4 times the amount of space over there is dedicated to these high-end jewelry and high-end purses, all that kind of stuff, as a shop, and they're every time I've sailed on the Wish, I would look into those shops, I wouldn't see a soul in there other than the cast members.
It is a waste of space.
It is the biggest waste of space I've ever seen on a Disney cruise.
And I mean, on a ship, you don't have the luxury of space on a ship. Right. So to have wasted space on a ship like that, where you have several thousand people you need to keep entertained, is it the best use of that space?
No.
Probably not.
No. 100% no.
So the thing is, the Treasure has done its sailings, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, the Treasure's been sailing since Christmas.
Is it the same?
It is the same layout.
But are those spaces still being utilized the same?
Yes, that's the problem.
So I hope it would change on the Destiny.
Probably not, because again, the blueprint is set for the...
Yes, but you could fill the spaces with something else.
Just gotta wait and see.
It doesn't have to be luxury jewelry.
It doesn't, but they still make it for some reason.
So
I will tell you this. I don't know if your wife has been showing you, but I've seen some of the merchandise for the Disney Treasure. Oh my lord!
Take my money.
Take my money, Disney, please, because they're like selling different like artifacts that you would find inside the Haunted Mansion bar. They're selling drinkware from the Haunted Mansion bar. They're selling drinkware from the 20,000 Leagues bar.
Actually, you know what I'll say about Disney Cruise? So I've never spent money on a Disney cruise and instantly felt like I got robbed.
Yep.
I have had
that. Well, you said that same thing about Epic Universe, too.
Just Universal in general.
Yeah.
I have had that experience at the Disney parks where I spend money and I'm like, wait, why did I just spend that money?
Right.
I kind of felt like I got robbed.
The biggest thing that I want to... I would say, like, almost the moral of this discussion, if you will. If you are planning your next Walt Disney World vacation, take notes on what you are paying for. Your hotel, your tickets, your dining, your merchandise, your lightning lanes, anything that you are potentially spending money on. And add that up after your vacation. The following year, go on a Disney cruise.
Bang for your buck.
And look at how much you're going to save. I can almost guarantee to the average tourist, you will save money by doing a Disney cruise over going to Walt Disney World. And the most important thing of all, you're actually going to truly enjoy your vacation. I'm not trying to say that you're not going to have like an awful experience or something like that at Walt Disney World. You can have a great experience at Walt Disney World, but you're out in the heat. You're sweating your butt off walking through these parks to then come home at the end to go back to your hotel at the end of your theme park day, exhausted. And, I've always said this. People leave Walt Disney World saying, I need a vacation from the vacation. Your vacation from the vacation is Disney Cruise Line.
It is.
Because you will feel so relaxed when you get off of a Disney cruise. You'll be ready to plan your next one.
Remember when we cried leaving the Magic?
Mm-hmm.
I've never had that experience at Disney World.
Wait until I take you to Tokyo.
I'm saying at Disney World, I've never had that experience. I never cried leaving there.
Yep.
Even before I lived here. I mean, it's always, okay, well, that kind of sucks. We'll come back next year or whatever. But, like, when that time we were on the Magic and we left, we were in tears.
Yep.
Because they got us attached to it in this weird money-making way. I have no idea how they do it, but it's just an incredible experience.
Yep. I wholeheartedly 100% agree with that. I have been hooked for almost 25 years now. Almost 25 years. I'll have been sailing 25 years next year. And that's crazy to think about that.
My cruise fever is hot right now.
Yeah. You know, I'm so thankful that, 2 more months and then we'll be on the Disney Treasure. And then we're on the Destiny in May. I'm also trying to convince the wife to maybe do a quick 3-night before then.
I can't wait for Disney Cruise Line pina coladas.
Ooh.
I love Disney Cruise Line pina coladas.
See, I do love all the drinks. You know what my signature drink has always been?
Old fashioned something.
No.
No?
And that's shocking coming from me because it usually would be old fashioned. It's a strawberry smoothie. I had those all the time when I was a kid on Disney Cruise Line. And that strawberry smoothie recipe has not changed.
Actually, you know what? There's something Disney Cruise Line, not on all the ships, but on the newer ones, has been able to give my wife and I. So, for those of you who might not know, I can't have real ice cream due to an issue with my pancreas and liver. So, I can't have the cream in it. So, I have to have non-dairy ice cream. A lot of places, non-dairy ice cream options are either limited or the options they have are not good quality. So, like a vanilla or a chocolate non-dairy ice cream at like Cold Stone, I'll be honest, it's not good. The other option I could have is sorbet, but I don't like sorbet. I would rather just have like real ice cream, quote unquote, right? So, Disney Cruise Line on the Magic and the Fantasy, they have an ice cream shop. They always have the soft serve on all the ships that you can just walk up and get, but they have these ice cream shops too that are an upcharge, but
can you have the soft serve?
No.
Okay. That's what I mean.
But they make all the ice cream on the ship fresh in the shop. And they make several real good non-dairy flavors too. And it tastes like real ice cream.
Now let's also remember that those ice cream shops you do have to pay extra for. But the fact that they've got that. But you know what is fascinating? Why do I get a Disney Cruise Line email while we're talking about Disney Cruise Line?
It's the NSA. It's the National Intelligence Agency and the CIA. But what Disney Cruise Line has been able to give my wife and I is proper ice cream dates. And that's a pastime that any couple would love, right, Matt?
Oh, absolutely.
And Disney Cruise Line has been able to give that to us. So that's something I always take away from that.
Yeah. There are so many unique things with the Disney cruise that you can just have. Everyone can have a different experience, but every experience is going to be amazing. And I can guarantee you that. I can guarantee you that you're going to have an amazing experience because of one thing. At the end of your cruise, you're always going to get a comment card. Now, those comment cards have moved away from paper and they're now digital. But I can guarantee you, because I have learned this, is that on debarkation morning, which obviously is also embarkation day for the next group of passengers, those comment cards are being read by the individual department heads. So the hotel director, the food and beverage director, the cruise director for the entertainment, they are all reading those comments. Now, obviously, most of those are, just simple polls saying, like, what did you find with the quality of the entertainment? Would you find that very satisfied, neutral, disagree, or, very disagree, or whatever? They're reading that stuff. But I've always told people, get an actual note to them. This is something that I've been doing on probably at least the last 10 cruises or so that I've been on. I always write a handwritten note that at the time I would drop it off into the with my physical paper comment card. I don't know how I can do that now with it being digital, so that's what I'm trying to figure out is how I can do it. But I would always write them a note. I would tell them what I've personally found amazing with the cruise, and if there was anything at all that I would find disappointing. I never usually have to write the disappointing stuff. I'm always finding that I'm preaching the gospel. I will never forget the cruise that we went on the Magic. I gave them such high marks after that cruise.
Oh yeah, we did too.
I literally said, this note is for the entire cast and crew of the Disney Magic. Thank you. Thank you for a wonderful, amazing time on my favorite ship. I have missed this ship with every power and being in my heart, and I'm so glad that magic has not left the ship. And they really do read this stuff. So I highly recommend, if you're ever on a Disney cruise and you're having this phenomenal service, yes, do that comment card, please, but write them a nice handwritten note. You've got some stationery stuff in your stateroom. Write that note, because they will read it. And that's what shapes Disney Cruise Line, is that all the feedback that they get from their guests, they know what the guests want, and that's what they're bringing out continuously on board. I will die on that hill for Disney Cruise Line any day of the week.
Me too.
Yep. So I think that will just about do it for us this episode. Speaking of Disney Cruise Line, don't forget, like we said, 2 months from now, we're going to be on the Treasure. And I think we're still getting our hearts set of doing a podcast recording from Castaway Cay.
I'm very concerned if we keep hyping this up, it's just going to rain.
Yeah, that... Then again...
Because anytime I go to Castaway, it rains.
Well, let's be real. We are in a cabana. So we will have some cover if it does rain.
We'll see how it goes.
Guys, thank you all for tuning in again. As always, please keep giving us feedback on these shows and share it to your friends and family. This podcast is only good if you, the listener, keep listening. For those of you that are also listening to us on YouTube, thank you for always tuning in on YouTube. Again, same thing. Please share the show out and let others hear about it. Hopefully we'll be back again next week. Hopefully I won't get sick.
Hopefully.
Yep, we will see you again next week with another episode of the Theme Park Land Podcast. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Have a great week. And, I still don't have a good sign-off or anything like that. I'll have to work on that.
I got it. So long, everyone.
Yeah, that'll work.
Okay.